Hi friends, and welcome to the Stitch Sessions. If you're new here, it's Karen here, and I love everything to do with crochet and crafting with crochet, and today is a great example of that. So we've got these really pretty little crochet roses that we're going to do, and I thought especially as we get closer to Valentine's, people are always looking for something a little different to do. So I've got 3 different sizes here. I have a small, a medium, and a large version. Now you may be looking at these two and going, the middle one actually looks like the small one. The reality is that the small one here, or it looks smaller, was done in a medium 4-weight yarn. In fact, all of these are medium 4-weight, but this one, I always feel like it leans more towards a lightweight number 3. It's slightly thinner than the others. So this is a great example of showing you how even though this was done using the medium size method, it still looks smaller than the small one. So the types of yarn you use definitely does make a difference. But I thought I'd give you the 3 different options there. I'll kind of let you know what your starting chain is for each one of these, but I am working on a written pattern for it as well. I know last year I fell really behind on some of my written patterns, but I'm trying to get back on track again. So look out for that in a little bit, but I think this tutorial should kind of help you along. So you can do all kinds of things with these roses. I've seen these especially on hats, like for children and things like that, but I've also seen it on like cloche hats or bucket hats for adults or young adults. It's just something fun you can add on. I like to put this on things like sweaters or jackets. In fact, this one is going to go on the lapel of my winter coat. So I just thought it was kind of like a nice little add-on that you can do. You can create a wall art with this. You can do a whole bunch of flowers. You can create a wreath. Like there's all kinds of things that you can do. And if you want to help a girl out, drop for me in the comment box what you would do with your crochet roses. I know as crocheters, we're always looking for inspiration. So if you think of something a little different, drop it for us in the comment box down below. I'm sure a lot of our crochet friends would appreciate it. So this is the large one here, as you can see. So it just has more coils around. This is the medium. So pretty, right? And believe it or not, it's much easier than you think. I know this looks complicated, but it is pretty straightforward and you don't need a lot of yarn to do it. So what do you say? Are you guys ready to crochet your very own crochet rose? Now, the other thing too, before we get on to the materials, just to keep in mind, there are many, many, many different ways of crocheting these roses. You'll see these all over the internet. You'll even see ones that are much larger. They'll use different types of stitches. So, you know, this is just one method that I have found that I like, but it's always up to you, of course. So there's lots of rose projects out there. This is my version. And this is perfect for a scrap busting project. And you'll see when I talk about the materials I'm going to use, I'm just going to use up scraps that I have left over for this little rose here. So what do you say? Shall we get stitching up our crochet rose? Let's do it. Okay, so this is the yarn. I just wanted to bring this one up. This is the one I used for this medium size that looks small. It's the Lion Brand 24/7 cotton yarn. See, it does say it's a medium 4, but it's quite thin for a medium 4. So if you decide to use something like this, just know that it's gonna run a little small. So if you want a larger one, I would actually go to the largest size. So that you'll get a little bit more of that width you're looking for. I'm not going to use it for this tutorial, but I just wanted to point that out. So the yarn I'm going to be using these are all medium 4-weight yarn scraps. So I've got some pink, purple, white, and a little bit of this teal color here. So I'm just trying to use these up. So this flower that I'm going to do in the tutorial will probably end up being a multicolored, which I think will be kind of neat. So that is, and this is probably more than enough, I think, like a handful. I don't know how much that is, but that's what I've got to work with. And then the hook size I'm going to be using is a 5mm hook, which is also known as an H or a size 8 if you go by those labels, okay? And as always, make sure that you have a yarn needle on hand. You're definitely going to need that to sew up your rows, and then perhaps just sew it onto the item you'd like to attach it to. And then, as always, make sure that you have a handy pair of scissors to snip your yarn. And once you've got all your materials together, we're going to be ready to start stitching up our flower. Okay, so I am going to start with my lilac color here. We're going to begin with a slip knot, and then we're going to start off with our foundation chain row. So I'm going to be doing the medium size again. So I am going to chain up 35. Now, if you decide to do the small, you're going to chain up 26. If you decide to do the large, you're going to chain up 44. Okay, so I'm going to do the medium, and I'm going to chain up a total of 35 chains. Okay, so I have my 35 chains, and make sure it's not too tight. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to find the second chain from the hook, and I'm going to place a single crochet. Now remember that this loop that's on the hook never counts as anything. So you're going to find the 1, 2, and insert your hook. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my chain so that I'm working into the back bumps, okay? So these are the bumps here. So there's 1 and there's 2, and I'm just going to help it along here and single crochet. Now, if you are a little newer and you kind of find this finicky, you can just go in through the front. It's not really a big deal. I will show you why later on, that for some projects, I do like to go in through the back bumps. So all we're going to do is we're going to place 1 single crochet into each and every single stitch. Okay, so I have done my single crochet stitches. You can see I've already had to change my color there. So I have 34 stitches in total now. Okay, and so the reason why I did the back bumps is when you turn this over, see that? You can see that the edge is nice and clean with the V's, with the little V's of the stitches there. It's just a little personal preference I have for certain types of projects, and this happens to be one of them. If you went straight in through the front, like I said, it's not a big deal. For me, this is just like an added nice little easy way I'll be able to see my stitches later on. Okay, so that's row 1. Let's go on to row number 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to turn our work. This chain 3 is going to count as a half double crochet and a chain 1. So then we are going to go back into the very first stitch here, and we are going to place a half double crochet stitch. So I've yarned over, inserted my hook, and pulled up a loop. So there's 3 loops. Then I yarn over and pull through all 3. So what this does is it creates a little V stitch here. So 2 of these chains counts as a half double crochet, and then a chain 1 and a half double crochet into the same stitch. It's kind of shallow, so it's hard to see right now, but there it is. And then what we're going to do is we're going to skip the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and into the third, we're going to place our V stitch using half double crochets. So I'm going to yarn over again, insert, and pull through all 3. There's a half double crochet. Then I'm going to chain 1 and then half double crochet again into the same stitch. Okay, just like that. So you have 2 V's. So that's what you're going to repeat. You're always going to skip 2, and into the next stitch you will V stitch. Okay, so I'm coming up to the end of my row. As you can see, I changed colors yet again. And at the end, you're going to have 3 stitches left. So you're going to do the same thing. You're going to skip 2, and into that last stitch, you're going to place a V stitch. So you've got your half double crochet, chain 1, and half double crochet. Okay, So in total right now, you should have 12 V stitches. So you can see where my little knot happened there. But the cool thing about this is once we wrap our little rows up, that's going to get hidden. So you can see my multicolored flower is taking shape here in terms of its color variation. Now it's just a strip right now. So we've got now to create our petals. So this was kind of, row 2 was kind of like the setup row for our petals. So we have one more row to do, and then we'll be able to coil up our rows. Whoops, I just undid that. Oh boy. So half double crochet. Okay, so for row number 3, what we're going to do is we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to turn our work. So because I have 12 V stitches here, for the first 4 V stitches, we are going to place 7 double crochets. So this chain 3 will count as 1, and now we're going to go into the V, and we're going to place 2. This is the 3rd. This is the 4th. This is the 5th. Now remember, these are double crochets, not half doubles this time. So they're a little taller. And how many do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we need one more. And that's our first petal there. And it's supposed to fan out like that, and that is a-okay. So next what you're going to do is you're going to go into this space between the V's, and you're just going to slip stitch, just like that. So that kind of anchors down that little fan. Isn't that pretty? And so into the next 3 V's, you're going to do the same thing. Now, once you've slip stitched, all you have to do is yarn over, go into the very next V, and begin your set of 7 double crochets. So you'll have a total of 4 V's that are going to be filled with 7 double crochets. And remember to slip stitch into the space in between the V's after you do your 7. I'm just finishing my last stitch in my cluster of 7, and you can see I've had to change color again. So I'm going to slip stitch here. So those first 4 V's are done the same, and they're going to curl like that, and that's perfect. That's what we want, okay? Now what we're going to do into the next 4 V's, we're going to do something similar. We're going to do half double crochet stitches, okay? So we are going to work 7 half double crochet stitches into each V. So you're still going to yarn over, insert, and you should remember this from the V stitches that we created because we used the half double crochet. So you just pull through all 3. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then you're going to slip stitch in that space. So the same method as we did with the double. So you can see it's just slightly, it's a stitch that's slightly shorter, and that's what we want. So you're going to repeat that into the next 3 V's, 7 half double crochets. Okay, and I just finished my 4th set. You can see I've changed colors again. So I've got 4 V's that have 7 double crochets, and now I've got 4 V's that have 7 half double crochets. And now you should have 4 V's left. And so into each of these V's, you're going to place 7 single crochets. So I'm just going to go right into this next V here, and I'm just going to do 7 single crochets. Now you're really going to see that your work is going to start to curl here, and that's a-okay because that's actually what we want in order to be able to coil up our flower. So here's 6 and here's 7. So the single crochets are really going to get crowded in here, right? Just like that. And then you're going to come in here and you're going to slip stitch. Now, if you're finding that this is a bit too much for you, you can always, for the single crochets, you can go down to 5 stitches in there, but I'm just going to stick to 7 to keep it nice and simple. and you can see they're all curling, and that's beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the next 3 V's, and then we'll be ready to actually shape our rose. Okay, so I have completed all of my V's. These were the last 4. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to chain 1, and I'm going to pull up a nice long tail here. And then I'm just going to snip my yarn. Like I would say maybe about 12 to 14 inches just to be on the safe side. Okay, and there we go. So there we have it. This is how you crochet the rose. Now, it just looks like a bit of an arch now, and because we've put all of these stitches here, it's created the need for it to curve, and that's exactly what we want. So now what we're going to do is we are going to start from the single crochets, and we're going to curl and coil our flower, working our way up to the larger petals. So the shorter stitches are going to sit on the inside. So I'm just going to show you what it's going to look like. So I kind of take mine this way and I start to coil it inward. Now this tail will stay down. So I coil it inward. Then I just slowly start to wrap this around bit by bit, just like that. You can see it's starting to take shape. Look at that. And that's how we kind of shape it. Now, if I just take this medium one here, so this is a medium in a true medium 4. See, you can see the difference. This one still looks small. So that's why I just wanted to kind of show you in the medium size. I used a slightly, what I consider a thinner yarn. So this is multicolored, so this is kind of cool. Now, the idea here is we got to find a way to keep this together, because otherwise when we let it go, it's just going to fall apart. So what we want to do here, whoops, is we want to thread our yarn needle. And it could be a little fiddly there, but that's why I like to do that first shaping, so I kind of know where I want it to go. So I always have the single crochet petals facing down towards me, and then I start to curl it inward. And what I'm going to do with this, so I'm going to leave this here for a second. I'm going to do that again. Make sure all my tails are pushed down to the bottom. And then I'm just going to start to coil it just like that. It doesn't have to be too tight, but you want to make sure that they sit nice and snugly. Just like that. So you can see all the petals are coming through. Now, when I turn it around, I just want to make sure, see how that edge is a little easier to see. I can wave that tail in afterwards. So I can see that my first little bit is here. So that's this first little one here. So I'm going to start from here, get that one out of the way. And I'm just going to start to kind of sew these little edges together. So this one with that one. And then I come across here. I just want to make sure I can pick up a couple loops. And so what I'm doing is each layer is getting secured. So I can just unwind it a little bit there. There we go. So then I go here like this as I curl it. And then I'm going to pick up a loop here. See? And those V's are nice and easy to see in this case. And by picking up 2 loops, it gives me a little bit of extra strength. So I just look back up here, make sure it's sitting nice and coiled. Nice. And then as I just coil it around, I just continuously, that's my little center there. I want to secure it nicely. So I'm going to pick it up through there. So this is the bottom. So don't worry about making it too pretty. So then I coil this around again. I always look at the top, make sure I like how it's looking. And then I come across here and I pick up those loops. So that's basically it. And then I keep coiling it around. Now you might have wanted to kind of weave this in ahead of time, but I'm going to show you why I'm leaving mine out until the end. So you can coil it tightly or you can coil it a little bit loosely. It all depends on how you want your rose to look. And again, I just look at the top, see if I'm liking how it looks. See, that one is a bit too tight, so I'm gonna loosen that up a little bit. I want the back petals to kind of really show through. So then I'm here, and I'm gonna just sew that there. And then again, I'm gonna coil this around like that. Make sure I like it. Yep, I can see the back petals. So I don't want this like a rose bud. I really want it to look like a rose that's bloomed. So I want my back petals to kind of flare out a little bit. So again, I'm rounding it out, perfecto. And I always pick up a couple loops from here and a couple loops from there. And get that tail out of the way there. And then coil the last little bit. Yeah, looks good. Okay, so do you see how quick and easy this is? Once you finish your 3 rows, now all you have to do is coil it. So the trickiest bit is this sewing part. If you're really particular, you just have to take your time. As always, pack your patience, but this isn't taking us very long. So I'm gonna cinch that in, and yeah, I like that. So this little bit is sticking out here, so I'm gonna bring this down just like that. And there we go. Okay, so the last little bit is down, but this little edge of the flower needs to be sewn down as well. So I just take that, and I'm just gonna go in through here. Now, because the color is different, I wanna be careful it doesn't poke out through the front totally. So I just kind of pick up a couple loops. So I'll go in through there, and then pick up a couple loops there. And that just kind of secures that the edge of this petal is staying in its place. I think I went through a bit too far there. Oh, not bad. Okay, and then I pick up the edge here, and then the edge over here. There we go. So now it has a nice end off there, and I just kind of feel it out if it feels secure. And I do like that. Look at how cool that is with the different colors. That was kind of neat. Again, great stash busting project. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to weave my way back down through here. Just like that. Kind of keep this hidden in the back. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that other tail. And this really kind of helps to secure everything together. So now I'm just going to go back across and picking up a few of these loops. So this is just extra security that these are all these layers are going to stay together. And whoops, be careful you don't pull that open. And then I'm going to go a little bit over here. Just like that. And then once I get close to the tail, I'm going to tie these two together. So now they're really super secure. Okay. The other thing you can do too is you can put this in your hair, which would be really kind of cute. You could put a little bobby pin through here or a barrette, and this would look super cute if you're doing, you know, a young person's hair or an old person's. It doesn't have to be a child. I know a lot of wonderful, amazing, eccentric ladies and gentlemen who might like to wear a crochet flower in their hair. So there you go. Okay, so that's nice and tight. Now you can leave this tail if you're going to sew it onto another project. This is a good way to do it. Or if you're going to do the barrette method or something like that, you can just snip off the end. But I'm just going to snip off this one side because I like to leave the option of, I don't have a particular item for this one, so I'm going to leave the tail here so that I can make the decision later how I'm going to sew it on. So there it is. Look at that. Your crochet rose, super cute and quick. So these are the medium. I'll bring this back. So this is the small. Actually, this was looks like it's almost the same size, but you can see the medium. you can get a few more layers going around. It also depends on how tightly you coil it. See this one, the center is a little bit tighter than this one. So that's how you can experiment. This one also had a nice tight coil, which I really like it in this yarn and this color for some strange reason. And then we have this one, which is the large. Again, you can see it's a tighter coil, but we have like 3 layers of petals here. Or 1, 2, 3, 4 layers, see? So you can really see the difference between the medium and the large, or even the small and the large. Pretty, right? So that is our crochet rose. Are you excited about making some flowers? What are you going to use your flower for? Please let us know down below. We're always looking for inspo. Now, if you have any more questions, feel free to also drop that in the comment box down below. And if you'd like to email me your question, you can certainly do that. And you can just email me at info@crochetcrafty.com. And if you're having any major issues with your flower, make sure to attach a photo of your work, and then I can have a closer look and see where you might need a little bit of extra assistance, okay? And as always, come and check out the website, crochetcrafty.com, for a lot of fabulous resource tools like sizing charts and things like that. As well as there's a bunch of free written patterns there. I will be working on the pattern to this for all 3 sizes. For those of you that are a little bit more comfortable reading patterns. So just sit tight, it might take me a little while, but I am working on this one. And of course, there's also a link to my Etsy shop for other patterns as well. All right, guys, that's it for me today. I hope you have a wonderful week full of love and laughter, whether you're sharing it with a sweetheart or a loved one or a family member. Every day should be Valentine's Day. So guys, have an amazing day. Oh, and by the way, I know a lot of people like to do heart motifs. So we have a whole bunch of them on this channel, and I'll make sure to leave a link to the playlist. I think it's under the applique playlist. No, actually, I do believe we have a Valentine specific crochet playlist. So I'll leave a link to that down below. If you're also looking to do some heart appliques or any other Valentine's related items. So make sure to check that out. All right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day, a beautiful week. Happy crocheting. Take really good care of yourselves. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.